If it wasn't for the clowns, we wouldn't be here at all. Speaking of clowns, why don't we get ready with a little... There we go. It's Monday.
Oh, it is Monday.
That's right. Doing a lot of this over the weekend.
I can't hear it.
That's because you're not wearing headphones.
I know.
That's
right,
why.
They're right there, too.
Yeah, you don't wear them. You don't hear the cool
I've been
stuff.
lazy.
No.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
What? See?
Stuck under the heater.
Well, what happens is the gnomes come in the middle of the night, and they go ahead and they...
Turn it up just a little bit. Thank you.
Can you hear that?
No.
Ah.
There we go.
Hi, Paul. How are you? Welcome to your afterlife.
I can hear it.
We'd like to welcome you to the pearly gates.
Yeah.
I won't display. You've been a bad boy, Paul.
Oh, I've been a bad boy.
Welcome to the dark side.
Bad boy. What you gonna do?
But sometimes you've been a very good boy.
Yeah.
Yes, Paul. Congratulations
Thank you.
on making it to the pearly gates.
Jesus, not too early. Thank you. Like a little harp in the morning.
Little harp. Uh-oh. It's time for Michael Mish. Michael Mish. See, you even get your own theme song, dude.
Your own set.
I don't know.
Here?
Yeah, come over there, man.
Unless you want to sit on the short stool.
I'm short
it.
enough.
Try to keep it uneventful today.
Yeah, how you doing?
That's it.
You?
Good.
All right, good morning, everybody. It's Monday morning, and as advertised and as promised, Michael Mish is here once again to talk about not that
Life.
life, and also I saw your nephew at Dean's Corner. You told me his name. It's not a common name.
Cameron?
No. He's up from Florida or just moved here or something. I don't know.
Haven?
Yes.
That's not my nephew, that's my cousin.
Oh.
So it's close.
What do I know?
That is my cousin Ryan. It's his son. Moved up from Texas, Florida area.
All right.
Yeah.
See, it was somewhere down there.
Ryan's dad
sure.
and my dad are brothers. So me and him were first cousins.
Okay. Well, because I told him that because he told me his last name, and I went, "Oh, wait a minute."
Yeah.
And I said, "Well," he said, "Oh, he's coming on my show one day." He goes, "Oh, you go, Little Mike or Big Mike?"
Yeah.
And I went, "What?"
Yeah. My dad's Mike too.
Yeah, that's what he
I was always
explained.
Little Mike. Not that I'm technically Big Mike now because I'm bigger than my dad, but I'm still Little Mike because I'm not that big.
So how are you doing?
Good. Just got back from vacation.
Yeah, where'd you go?
We went down. We go to Myrtle Beach every year, the week before 4th of July. So it was nice. Yeah. Last year the weather was terrible. This year was great.
So just like a big beach community, or?
Yeah, it's right. It's kind of in North Myrtle Beach, over by where I think it's like the Grand Dunes, which is where they have a PGA tournament there at the golf course. Mm-hmm. The condo's right next to it.
Do you play golf?
I do. I don't play there because it's a private club.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh.
But we're literally like right. There's just a little breachway separates where our condo is, and then where all the.
So you're not like big time enough to play in their condos?
No.
In the golf cart?
No, I'm not big time.
Come on, man.
I wish.
Guys, you should walk in there. You know who I am? You know who I am?
You.
I'm going to foreclose on all your shit this week.
That's it. Play that card.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Mike effing Mish, man.
Yeah.
So you had a good time, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Kids love it. It's a good spot down there.
Paul doesn't go on vacation. Refresh Paul what it's like to go on vacation. Yeah. I think this is why he's so crotchety, because he hasn't been on vacation. He needs to go somewhere.
Well, you're retired. Every day's a vacation.
That's true.
Yes. You need to go somewhere. You need to go.
The scenery's got to change, though, Paul. You got to.
I know.
You don't go up to like Maine or New Hampshire, Vermont.
Good, like Butte, Montana, anywhere.
I used to go all the time when I was working.
Yeah.
Well, we had It was a territory.
Oh,
You used to take a copter up there, didn't
I
you?
spent a lot of time in New Hampshire.
You used to take a copter up there, right?
No.
But I thought there was a private
Plane, in a plane.
Was it a private plane or
Yeah,
something?
no, yeah, it was like what, 8 seats?
Yeah.
Twin engine. Up and down within a half an hour you were there.
Should like the Waukesha or something. Do something, Paul. Get away from the damn cats.
Yeah, I know.
it's like Nova Scotia. That's where I want to bring the kids next. Is like Nova Scotia, New Brunswick.
I've been to to Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
It's really. Have you been there?
No, I've never been.
Yeah, it's very nice. It's weird though because it's
'Cause
on
it's
a
Canadian?
hill.
Oh.
Hey, hello, Canadians. No, but it's on a hill.
Yeah.
And it's a very steep hill. But I guess that was the reason why they a lot of people started living there or they founded that area was because apparently it was a war area.
Yeah.
And because of the hill, they could see.
Well, I think Prince Edward's Island has like the highest from difference between like high tide to low tide. It's like one of the highest points in the world.
Is that where the tide comes in and out in like 45 minutes or some crazy
it's
stuff?
crazy, and it
It's
drops
yeah.
like
up here and
20
it's down
feet.
to there. Yeah.
What Prince Edward
I
Island
don't know
or
if that's
Nova
where it is.
Scotia? Like it's
No.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's
It's,
really
like a
Summer
tourist
out there.
attraction. You
Yeah.
go up and watch the tide come in and go out. It's like phenomenal how high it comes in and then drops real quick after it.
Isn't that where Anne of Green Gables, the whole story took place?
I don't know. But to go up there now, you have to have. I mean, that's part of Canada, so you have to have a passport, right?
I guess. I don't know. When I went there, I didn't need one.
Well,
You don't need a
I-
passport to leave. You need one to come back.
Right.
Huh. Well, I guess you need one.
Or you can just come in
Well, you
illegally.
Huh?
You could just come in illegally.
Well, that's true, you know.
That works too, right? Just call up Joe.
They
Tell him,
won't-
hey, open the door, buddy.
Yeah.
So let's welcome in.
They probably wouldn't let him in anyway. He looks like,
He looks Armenian or something. I don't know. Let's welcome in illegal alien Mike Mish,
Polish.
Polish.
Not
Are you,
Armenian.
is it Polish?
Yeah.
Actually read a thing online the other day. There's a lot of countries and even the United States now that have different requirements. And it's not just the passport anymore. You go to Europe and you got to fill out something beforehand before you can go into Europe.
You got to go to Europe before you can get into Europe.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Even with a passport, I don't know if I took a picture of it or not, but it was crazy. There's like 3 extra forms now, depending on where you want to go, that you may need, and don't get caught at the gate without it because it's just going to delay the hell out of you, you know?
I know some people that live up here that still have family in certain countries, like in Central America, you know, like
Yeah.
Salvador, Nicaragua, Guatemala, those places. If you want to come up here, like we think we've got it pretty easy. Like we can basically, as American citizens, we can travel anywhere and nobody's going to put any restrictions on us. Those countries, down
Especially if you
there-
got real ID.
right. If you leave one of those countries to come up to the United States, it's not, you know, even if they're just coming up on vacation, they don't let a lot of people from that. That's why there's such a difficult time with people coming in illegally is they don't just let you come up here. Like some of those countries, they check to see how much money you have
Oh, yeah.
before you can actually come up here because what they're afraid is you're going to say, I'm going
Smuggling.
on vacation,
Smuggling,
and then you're
yeah.
just going to stay here.
Well, did you ever watch the show Contraband? Seas at the Border?
No.
Oh yeah, all the Mexican borders when the trucks and tourists and stuff come in, they keep an eye on them vehicles when they go to Mexico and how long they're there for,
Yeah.
and they come back, and it's amazing the drugs first of all, but you are restricted to I think it's $10,000
Yeah.
is all you're allowed to bring back because any more than that they figure you're tied up with a cartel and
Yeah.
you know it's all drug world.
Amazing, those drugs.
You go
he says.
through.
Pure, man. What do you
When you go come abroad, if you want a global entry pass, that'll get you through customs and immigration quicker. A new document for going to Europe for American citizens is called an ETIAS for entering 30 European countries, including France and Italy. It's good for 3 years or until your passport expires. That's for Americans. It's not for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few different things out there now.
Well, I guess we got to get that to go to the Olympics, huh?
Kind of nice.
It's ridiculous. Thought the gold star was the answer to it all.
Oh, you mean on the real ID?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
a passport. I thought that got you everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I made sure I got real ID. I don't even know why now because it didn't. The only
Yeah, they were going to bring it in, but they postponed it as a result of.
I got it when they were first putting it out. The lady asked me if I wanted it one time at a renewal. And she says, get it now. She says, because 10 years from now, it's going to be required. You're
Yeah.
going to have to pay for it, all that crap. Yeah, what the hell? Put it on here. So
Yeah.
I've had it for
Yeah.
2 or
You
3
won't be able to
license
fly without it.
renewal cycles
Yeah.
anyway. But
Yeah.
Not yet.
Not yet, but
no.
it's coming.
The only difference I found in my on the cruise that I just went on with the real ID, I didn't need my, my birth certificate. I got this random tickle that shows up.
COVID.
That's it. We're done.
Yeah.
We're quarantined. Well, we could DoorDash food.
They
So
still
it
make
doesn't
you
matter.
use a
you know?
passport?
No, I never had to use a passport.
No. See,
Really, you don't?
No,
Not to go to the Caribbean.
It's
No,
on
no.
a cruise is considered closed loop because you're going out and you're coming back.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're going to France and you can wander around wherever you want to go for 3 weeks and hop on a plane and come home.
You can. I mean, you can
You
wander
can,
around the
but-
islands, but you got to be back on the boat.
Right. If you want
You
to
know,
go
at a
home.
certain
there.
time, if you
Yeah.
want to make it home.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because now they say that you can use the passport card instead of a book for cruises because of that reason. But now they're doing away with passport cards, I was told by my travel agent.
Well, the cruises I've been on, we haven't had to use a passport at all.
Nothing at all.
No,
Just a driver's license.
Well,
A birth certificate.
and a birth certificate, but the birth certificate has to have the raised
The stamp,
seal.
yeah.
It can't be a photocopy
Right.
or anything like that.
Right.
And that works. But if you have a real ID, you don't even need that.
Interesting.
You just show that, and away you go. Jesus.
Yeah. My birth certificate's on parchment.
Probably still etched in stone.
On parchment.
It's a tablet.
It's on papyrus, written in calligraphy.
It's got a wax seal.
There you go.
With the blood of a lion in there.
Signed by Nostradamus, who's still here, so it doesn't matter. Cindy says, "Well, hey, Cindy. I understand you really enjoyed the Steve Augeri concert the other night. That's great. It's supposed to Jesus. It's supposed to be for entering federal buildings, commercial aircraft, and domestic flights and nuclear power plants. Real ID.
Huh.
Yeah, I read that too. Try getting into a nuke plant.
Federal buildings.
Yep. Bring your camera in there and start recording. It's a public building.
True.
You get all the cops after you. Turn that off. Turn that. It's a public building. So there we go. So what's going on with the in the world of mortgages, Michael? How are rates right now?
Still up there.
Great. Okay, moving on.
They've been up and around high sixes, low sevens.
With
Okay.
good credit scores.
Yeah, with good
I thought
credit
the
scores.
Feds just dropped it.
Haven't dropped it yet.
Oh, because I thought I
They-
heard the news.
They paused it
Oh, they paused.
again. They're meeting.
What's the reason for pausing?
So the
They're
banks-
not raising the rates anymore on the Fed rate, but they are leaving it at an elevated rate. During COVID, it was between 0.25%. Right now, it's between 5 and 5.25. So that's what the federal government through the central bank, which is a joke, lends, commercial banks for lending purposes.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really directly correlate the federal funds rate to 30-year fixed mortgages.
Yep.
But it does have a play in what banks and lenders have with borrowing costs, so it kind of trickles down. But 30-year fixed rates and other fixed rates, I've said before, they're generated basically from the sale of mortgage-backed securities on the secondary market. So people buy.
Well, I don't understand what that means. So,
Okay.
I mean, can you simplify that?
Yeah. So the secondary market is where mortgages are pooled together into mortgage-backed securities. So a security that is a whole bunch of, hundreds of millions or billions of dollars of mortgages that are put into a big pool. Fannie and Freddie back them, which is the federal full faith of the federal government, whatever that means nowadays. And people buy those securities. So it's a type of bond. So when you have a bond, you have a fixed rate of interest that you get. You either pay above face value or you get a discount and you pay under face value for the bond. And then you get a fixed rate of interest for the remaining portion of that, the life of that. So if it's a 30-year bond, you're going to get a fixed rate of interest. During COVID, the Fed came in to manipulate interest rates lower to help the economy. And they bought mortgage-backed securities. Now, normally pension funds, hedge funds, Wall Street investors,
What is a
institutional
hedge
investors.
fund?
A hedge fund, like on Wall Street, where people are
I think of a hedge as a bush.
No. Basically,
No, I'm serious.
That's how-
like they're hedging the market. They're buying and selling securities and different things like that.
Okay.
So they're buying up bonds, um, you know, for the return on the interest that you get on them. When the Fed did that, it's always goes back to supply and demand.
Mhm.
So if you have $50 billion a month for sale in mortgage-backed securities, and the market, is only 30 or 35 million, and the Fed comes in and starts buying up 30 or 40 million in bonds,
Yeah.
there's less supply,
More
still
demand.
same demand. So rates drop because the value of those bonds is worth more. Coincidentally, when they started to let the interest rates go up, they kept interest rates low, artificially low, for about a year longer than they should. They needed to do it, some would say, in the early part of COVID
Mhm.
because of nobody really knew what was going on. By the end of by 2021 is when they really, middle of 2021, end of 2021, they should have let them start to increase. And by doing that, they should have stopped buying mortgage bonds and putting it on the Fed balance sheet.
Right.
What they did is they kept buying them and kept rates low, which low rates attributed to the inflation and housing market and all those different things. And then they stopped doing quantitative easing in early 2022, in which not only did they stop buying bonds, but they then started to sell the bonds that they had bought during the time of COVID. And now you had more supply than demand, and that's when rates precipitously moved up quickly for fixed mortgage rates, and they've stayed there. So
So how is that affecting the market, or how should I say, how is the market affecting rates right now for mortgages, or is it
depends where you are. Like
All right,
New
so
England,
let's-
around this area where I work and
Yeah.
we live and stuff, there's still a need for housing, like we've talked about on the show before,
Yeah.
because it's very difficult to bring new housing to market around here. It's almost impossible to bring anything affordable as a builder. So affordable housing, not subsidized housing, but actual affordable housing. You really can't bring something to market, which most people around here nowadays would think affordable would be a house in the $300,000 to $400,000 range, let's say.
Mhm.
You can't build a house new construction and have it sell for $300,000 to $400,000 and make a profit.
right?
New-
What are you doing here?
I was down breakfast having Charlene's with the wife. I said,
Oh,
stroll
oh,
over here.
hey,
I was down
hold
having.
on.
I was at breakfast having Charlene's with the wife.
Oh, jeez, I didn't get my invitation. Did you?
Yeah, no, Paul.
Wow.
Oh, he must have been just the
All you
Wasseliks
guys
today.
were working. I couldn't miss a day of work on the show.
It was just the Wasseliks today. Yeah,
There you
yeah.
go. There you go.
Yeah.
No,
So,
it's
so
the
tell
other
me
wife.
something about the houses, though.
It's the other wife,
You would
Rich.
think that if the price of houses went up, that the interest rates would go down to keep it affordable for the mortgage end of things. But it seems like now the prices are up and so are the interest rates are up. Why are the banks doing that out of greed? Or are they doing that out of because of what you just explained?
No, they're doing that out of the fact that with mortgage-backed securities, where all mortgages are pooled together, it's a bond. So inflation has a lot to do with bonds because your bond is worth less if inflation stays above an elevated level. You know what I mean? If you're paying an inflation level that's higher than what your mortgage bond is worth. In that situation, like what you're talking about, is the markets are looking at these mortgage-backed securities now that are 6.5%, 7% interest rates. They're all packaged together. But the real worry with that is we have inflation that hasn't really shown that it's come down. So that affects it. And the big thing that I think people don't talk about or is kind of discounted is the fact that we have a federal government that cannot stop spending,
Oh, yeah.
Really?
and where that debt's going to go. So people say, oh, well, we'll eventually get back. It's like, well, we haven't had a balanced budget since 95. Right now, we're running, and you can blame it on Trump. You can blame it. Both parties spend like drunken sailors, and nobody wants to ever talk about the fact that we spend. And you could say, I'm going to tax the rich. Okay, well, you can tax billionaires. Every billionaire in this country could be taxed at 100% of their income. Still wouldn't balance the budget for a year. So we don't have a tax problem in this country, to my estimate, what I believe in. We have a spending problem.
Mhm.
And politicians have found that if you just keep giving money out to people, human nature is they're going to keep electing you.
Yeah.
And anytime somebody steps in and says, hey, maybe we should take a look at the fact that we're $32 trillion in debt, we're spending $2 trillion more a year right now than we're taking in. We're adding $1 trillion to the debt right now, currently. Every 100 days, we're adding $1 trillion in debt.
So I go back to in 1986, a house that I bought in Norwich. It was $80,000. The house is probably worth $300 all day long today.
Mhm.
But at that time, the best I could do for an interest rate with good credit, mind you, was 10%.
Right.
So we kept that house for a couple of years. We moved back out here to Griswold. I know the interest rate wasn't that high, but even today, people are buying $400,000-$500,000 houses, and their interest rates are 6, 7, 8%. The difference in interest on that 30-year mortgage, 10% is a lot on
Yeah.
80 grand, but 6 or 7% on $400,000 is a whole lot more.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
And then you also have to look at what else. Like when my parents built the house, they live in Mystic now, but the house that my dad built right before I was born in 1980, they lived in Baltic. That's where I grew up. He bought a house with a farmer's loan at that time.
I remember
It was a
farmer's
rural
loan.
area.
Farmer's home, you mean?
Farmer's home. Yeah.
Farmer's home. Yep.
Was it FHA?
They were up in
It
Franklin.
was like
FMHA.
Yeah, it was like 17 or 18%
Wow.
was the interest rate. Now he bought that house. It was 2.5 acres. The house and everything out the door. I think he paid 25 or 30
Yeah,
grand
right,
for it.
right.
You know what I mean?
But the interest rate was like
Right. But also what I look at, and if you compared what somebody made back then
true.
and what their mortgage payment was versus what somebody makes nowadays and what their mortgage payment is, you would say,
Yeah.
well, it's pretty comparable. Yes.
Is it?
However,
You used to say what?
25%.
Two paychecks a month for
Most
Plus-
people would say like one paycheck to be really like well qualified. Your mortgage payment shouldn't
Yeah.
take up more than your take home 1 week.
1 week. I thought it was 2.
You know what I mean? That's how I always looked at it. That might be a little bit more conservative, especially nowadays.
Today,
But back then, you didn't have the property taxes that we pay nowadays,
Yeah.
cell phones, the insurance costs, healthcare costs, groceries, all those other things that contribute to it. So that's to me is what is unaffordable. And then also, like growing up, my parents had one car that I can remember.
Mhm.
They had like one decent car and one beater car,
That's all we needed.
and it wasn't
yeah, my parents never had new cars.
right. And if they did, it was always maybe one payment. I would say now, on average, the average household for somebody 40 and under, I usually see 2 people with car payments, and they're somewhere between $800 and $1,000
Yeah.
a month
Oh,
each
gotcha.
payment.
What do you think of what do you think is happening with the 30 and under?
Oh yeah,
It's not just their car payment; it's their rent, which is astronomical, which they think is a great deal.
$2,000 minimum for a
Yeah.
2-bedroom apartment.
And,
Come
and,
on.
and it's almost like they're like, "Hey, guess what I'm paying?"
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean,
I'm not impressed.
I
but-
regularly see people nowadays that have $1,200 to $1,500 a month car payments,
Sure.
and I'm not talking about people that make
Just for the hell of it, I
$500,000
took
a
on.
year.
I had a thing come up online the other night with Ram trucks, so I went and rebuilt my truck instead of a 19, but as a 25.
Yeah.
The payment was $900 and change a month.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
For how many years?
I 72 months. That was the worst part. 6 years.
But people don't ever. I mean, and I
And
think
what was the interest
everybody's-
rate?
Everybody's guilty.
You
of
know,
it.
I can't tell you. I don't know.
Hmm.
But it was, I put in my credit score is what it is, over 800.
Mhm.
And it, guess it gave me the best rate. I don't know. But it was like, oh my God. And then you could lease it. Even the lease payment was 600 and change a month to lease that truck.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man. And you don't even get to own it unless you want to buy the residual at the end.
Yep.
For 3 more years.
Right. It's crazy,
Oh,
but we're talking. I mean, the houses really are on the same idea, correct?
sure.
I
Yes and no.
mean, what house is technically an appreciating asset.
Hmm.
Car is a depreciating asset until it becomes. So, I mean, if you plan on buying a car and keeping it for 25 years, then or but how do you know nowadays if you bought something? Think about it. If you bought a 2000 Honda Civic or a 2000 Toyota Camry,
Yeah.
now all of a sudden, if you still had that car now and it's considered a classic, it's not like my dad owning a '67 Chevelle. Where you're like, oh,
Yeah.
well, that thing's worth money.
It's got to be 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to be 20 years to be a
Right.
antique.
Well, if you bought it 2000, it's 24 years.
So you could.
But
Yeah.
That's the difference of looking at a car compared to that older style car from back in the day. Old, like my dad.
But it
just
seems
bought
like a car that's
Who
over
knew back
20
then
years.
either,
right. They
you
didn't know back then. My father said all the time, all the cars and trucks
Oh my God.
from his
Oh, yeah.
teens and 20s.
But it seems like a car over 20 years old now starts to appreciate instead of depreciate because it's a classic.
And you get to go register them as a classic and beat the town on taxes too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I paid $15.
And insurance.
Sure.
That's what I paid.
Yeah.
$15 on it. So
Yeah.
It's probably worth $35,000.
Which is strange.
I mean, all of those
That
costs.
car probably wasn't $3,000 brand new.
Probably.
Yeah.
You're right.
I mean, all those costs add. They all add up. I mean, it's like I just went with property taxes and stuff. I just went through and paid my property tax, and I live in Canterbury, which is one of the probably the best or one of the best towns tax wise.
I couldn't wait to get out of Canterbury. I couldn't wait.
Yeah. I live out in the sticks, so it's nice.
Well, I don't know
Yeah.
about it over there. If you're not from Canterbury, you better get the hell out of here, boy.
You weren't
They were
really-
out there
you
with the
weren't really a
pitchforks and the
homeowner.
torches
Yeah.
every night in his front yard, right?
That's cool.
Get on out of here. I don't see no corn out here. I think you best leave.
Where's your pigs?
My daughter lives in Canterbury. Where's your Siri?
Think of all the Canterbury fans.
Yeah.
No. Pam Padalano says, hi all, but a personal wish to hi Mike Mish.
Hi, Pam. Pam's great.
So, I was just going to ask you something. I totally forgot. Paul, what was I going to say? You must have a question, Paul. Yeah, I mean, you're completely into this. So, let's go.
He was around before the banks. He ought to know this stuff.
No, I don't have one right now.
How rich are you, Paul? 32 stone. 32 stone. I'm the one that built the pyramids.
There was no mortgage on it.
Buries his money in coffee cans in the backyard, right?
And there's a lot of interest in that because no one will find it.
Uses the plastic ones.
Oh,
Even
whoa.
metal detectors can't get them. They
Yeah,
don't
metal
rock.
detectors won't work.
I'm waiting for Mike.
I know.
Sorry.
He's busy doing work business.
Work business.
Work business.
Work business. Is that a new term?
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey, Rich. Sorry I can't come today. I got some work business.
That's all right. The boss is here. We're good.
Oh, that's right. Wayne, sorry. Tomorrow, I have a lot of work business.
Okay. Got an eye problem. Can't see coming in today.
There
Do you have any
go.
work business, Paul?
No,
Nope.
I got retirement business to go to.
Retirement business. There's more work there than there is in work business.
Yeah, it can be at times.
Waiting for the 15th of every month, right?
That's the what's that? Social Security?
It goes by. Comes in. Social Security comes
That's
in
what
based
we
on
do.
when your birthday is.
When your birthday
Up to a
is.
certain age.
I think my dad's pension comes out on the first from the state.
Yeah.
My pension comes in.
Pension
on the
check
first.
comes in the first. Social Security comes in later in the month.
It'll change when you get older.
My-
'Cause
It'll
mine-
definitely change when I get older.
Yeah,
'cause it'll
mine,
be gone.
mine used to come in like the 15th, 18th, somewhere around there. But after I reached a certain age, it started to come in on the 3rd.
Do you think
So-
Social Security be around when you hit retirement?
I
age?
still think so, yeah.
I don't think it
But
will. When
you
I,
have to be 92 in order to get it.
Welcome to Retiree Chat, starring Paul Lash, Rich Canova,
Yeah.
Ah,
It'd be
Wayne Malin in the
Like,
sidelines.
like if Medicare's still around.
I also
Let's
think-
talk
I
Medicare.
also think Social Security is a
my
Ponzi scheme.
pension's
but-
on the 15th.
Let's
and
talk
my
diabetic
Social
foot care.
Security is the third Wednesday.
Yeah,
Heard
my
enough
wife's
of
got
that
one.
at Charlene's today.
Yeah.
Couple
no-
people around.
no
who said,
date on
"Hey,
Social
mine-
Security.
Let's talk about hardening of the arteries.
Yeah, all these health issues. That's all I heard. All these
That's
health
right.
issues.
It's Retiree Chat.
Yep.
It's riveting Retiree Chat. Let's talk about dental implants. Why don't we?
Probably pretty expensive right now. I know mine was like $4,000.
Yep.
Yeah.
Insurance only pays for half of it usually.
Yeah. They're not. I'm sure they're pretty expensive right now.
Cooling centers are open, kids. Yes.
They are open.
The cooling centers are open
Just talked about that before the show.
Monday, July 8th. The senior center from 8:30 to 3:30. The town hall from 8:30 to 4. In the library. I don't know why she don't get this. Hold on. Hello?
Hey, Mike.
Hi, you're on our radio show. Since you always call during the radio show, I figured I'm just gonna put you on.
Oh, great. So I can't talk about it. Tell you what I'm talking about. So anyway,
Can I call you back in like 25 minutes?
how many minutes?
25. Or do you need me now?
No.
Okay.
I'll be here in 25 minutes. So
25 minutes.
love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye. It's my stepmother.
Well, I hope they got the sign-in sheets.
Huh?
Well, when you open up a shelter, you need to have sign-in sheets not only for the volunteers, but you need to keep track of who is in,
Mhm.
Not our problem,
who's a
is it?
participant in the shelter.
I don't remember. I don't know if it's just me, but when I was a kid, and I mean, I'm 43, so it's not like it was 100 years ago. But
Right.
What are you trying to say here?
Did-
100 years ago for Paul?
yeah, I don't remember it.
Wayne has eked himself right into the show. Have you noticed that? Not even scheduled, but he's bored. So I'm going to say, you know what? I'm Wayne Malin.
Like it's all
I'm
something
here.
about the heat. It's like, yeah, it's summertime.
It's always hot. Always been hot.
Yeah.
Get over it. Go sit in a brook like we used to do.
I mean, go to the reservoir, go jump in.
Sure.
We never had a cooling center.
No.
Never.
We had a brook down the road from us. We used to go sit in the brook. Play
We
in the
put
brook.
ice cubes in front of a damn fan and sit in front of it and see what happens.
I didn't even have air conditioning in my house.
No, we didn't
Neither
either.
I
did
didn't have air
I.
conditioning in my house that we lived in prior to the house that we just built in Canterbury,
Yeah.
which we've been in
Oh.
for 2
Yeah.
years. The first couple years my kids were born and stuff like that, we had fans.
Yeah.
We lived in
So we had.
an older house. Didn't
You went to bed at night. You woke up. Your sheets
I will
were
say?
wet.
I mean, it's nicer.
Your sheets were wet from sweating.
Yeah, it's nicer having.
Oh, listen,
air
it is.
conditioning.
But
Cars never had them.
yeah, you had the 260 model. You rolled down the two front
Yep.
windows and did 60
And
miles
they
an
weren't
hour.
even
And they had those, you had those windows like I had a
wing
67
windows,
Ford
yeah.
with
Yep.
pushed in, and that
The
was
wing windows.
Yeah, they're
Yeah, I never ever air. How about
No.
you? Did you have? How about you,
In
Wayne?
my teen years, we ended up getting air conditioning units.
That was about when my mother got an air conditioner too.
Probably mid-70s.
It was
no,
like
no cable, no AC.
I
It
was-
was a joy.
Yeah.
bro.
I was just saying. I was just gonna
We
say
had window
right
units, but it
after
was so
we got
expensive to use them.
cable.
Trust me, it was very extreme nights when you got turned on to go to sleep. That was it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It wasn't like you cooled the whole house down.
My mother would say, "Jump in the pool."
We didn't have that.
So, well, we bought a house that had a pool.
Mm.
Did you have one of those little plastic ones?
Imagine like one of those little plastic ones.
Yeah.
With a blow up seahorse, right?
with a speedo on, sprawled out.
Yeah.
I was 7, you dirtbag.
Oh, I meant now.
Yeah, he'd get his tube. and-
My backyard's not big enough for a pool.
He wears one of the banana hammocks now.
Yeah.
Own it, Mike. Just own it.
Is that a banana? You're just
Just
happy
own
to
it.
see me.
Swim
I'm
for the
on
chicken.
I was watching some guy the other day. He actually took his garbage can, with the flip, filled it up with water, and got in.
Oh, jeez.
Why not?
That's wicked sanitary.
I know you could.
There's no leakage from
Let
your
me tell you
garbage
something.
in the bottom
Oh,
of
little
that.
dead maggots.
Yeah, up to his neck.
I'm drinking from a hose still,
Oh,
so I
okay.
really don't care. If I'm out mowing the lawn and the hose is there, I'm
Yeah.
not going in it.
Oh, yeah.
Lapping it like a dog.
What's wrong with that?
We all live through it.
You got
That's
city
right.
water?
Huh?
City water?
I got radioactive water, I think. I don't know.
You do have a glow about you.
But it's fine. It's fine.
We all live through it.
Huh?
We all live through it.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, today. What do you mean you're not drinking anything like Dasani water or something?
That was the cheapest one over there.
Diet what? Have you heard of diet
It's diet
water?
water. Yeah.
Have you heard it? What the is diet water anyway?
Water. Is that what's that?
No, that's not diet
Or is
water.
it like
You just make
clean?
fun of it because it's Dasani.
Yeah,
It was the cheapest one next door. I don't know what to say.
just water, man.
That's all.
It's the best thing for you.
Yeah.
It's recycle.
Mm-hmm.
There is a thing called diet water
Really?
that is on the market.
What's that? Negative calories?
That's smart.
No, it's got certain things in it, but it's diet water.
Is it flavored?
No.
I mean, I can see alkaline water.
Well, I know there's
or
a
the
difference
pH,
between
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
spring water and purified water. I know there's a difference between that when you go to the store and look at it. I don't know
Well,
what the
spring
difference
water
is.
comes from a spring, and the
Purified
other
water
comes
is out
from
of a
toilet.
faucet through a filter or something,
It comes
probably,
from a
right?
toilet, and then you just
Yeah,
filter
yeah.
it.
So I have a question for you. So now, like, one of the things that we did is we did not utilize when we bought our house. We did not utilize a real estate agent.
Mhm.
How do you feel about that? Being a mortgage broker, I mean, would you rather work with a real estate agent, or does it not matter to you? Do you get just as is it just as easy working with the closing attorney, or
It really depends on the borrowers. It depends on the buyers, what they're looking for. I mean, I'm sure from the conversations we've had and stuff. I'm
Yeah.
a big free market guy. So I don't think there should be rules one way or the other. If you feel that you can negotiate a contract with an attorney, and you don't want to use an agent, that's fine. I see some people nowadays doing private sales,
Mhm.
so it does happen. Um,
like that's what mine was?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you bought it directly, so you were able to negotiate it. It really depends on the parties. You can have, I've seen it before where you've got, the buyer and the seller, and everybody, hey, the seller's looking for a fair deal to sell the house. The buyer's looking for a fair deal, and they just come to an agreement, like other negotiations
Well, if
in
you can
life
get
and
rid of
stuff like that.
6% commissions on a house today,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
a lot
Sure.
of money, right?
Yeah, and then there's also some sellers out there that do that and want the same price so that they can get 6% more on the sale of their house, because in this market, just like in any market, sometimes there's people out there that don't care about anything except, they're out for blood. They just want the most money possible.
Mhm.
And I think you in my experience, you tend to find that agents and lenders that work together end up thinking similarly. So I don't say that somebody that's all about the bottom line when it comes to working with a buyer or an agent or an attorney or something like that. There's that maybe half of the people that look at it that way, and there's half that look at it a little bit differently. Like, hey, I'm going to facilitate this. I'm going to help. Yeah, I'm making a living at it, but I want all parties to be happy, and kind of looking at it that way. Like in any business, I think
Right.
you go into any industry. There's people that look at it just from the strictly dollars and cents. There's people that look at it not from that perspective. I think it can be done both ways. I don't think people should be forced ever, by an industry like, National Association of Realtors or anything like that, as to what they should or
Right.
shouldn't do. But there is a lot of people out there, and there's a lot of beneficial things to having a real estate agent as well. You know what I mean?
It seems like a few years ago that seemed to be the big thing. Sell it on your own, and because you'd always see for sale by owner, for sale by owner. Now
Well, there
it
was a
doesn't
lot of
seem.
cash deals, too.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of that. I don't. That's my opinion.
You got to be educated.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do that self by self, you need to do your research, because
Yeah.
there's things that are hanging out there. If you don't do it right,
Yeah.
you're gonna screw yourself.
And there's a lot of footwork
Or the other,
involved,
yeah.
yeah.
This is a perfect example of it, which I can, because I do a lot of construction lending, renovation lending, and things like that. You can buy and sell a house without a real estate agent.
Mhm.
You can also build your house without a general contractor.
Mhm.
I did it, but I grew up around
Mhm.
the trades with my father and my grandfather and family members and friends so I felt comfortable being my own general contractor and doing it that way and running it. Could the average person build
I
their
couldn't.
own house?
I couldn't. No.
Absolutely not. So in that situation, just like when you're building a house, if you have a general contractor build it or you built it yourself, you're going to pay more to have a general contractor build your house. But they're providing a service, and there's a cost to that service. Same thing with a real estate agent. You're not everybody could understand it, know it, negotiate, and do all that stuff. So can you do it? Yes. And there's a segment of a percentage of the population that can and will do it. It's probably a small percentage. Should everybody do it? No. And everybody needs to look at it as finding value. What's the value that builder or that agent or me as a loan officer, what's the value that we're giving to the customer? Because I tell people nowadays, all of these businesses that provide a service. I think for many years, people in the lending industry, people in the real estate industry, they a lot of people thought, well, hey, we're important.
Mhm.
I tell my kids, I tell people, I'm not really any different with what I provide service wise. It's a little bit different because it's a different industry than when you're going out to dinner and you have a good server that's serving you a meal. They're serving you. They want to provide you the best service possible. That's what a realtor does. That's what a loan officer does. It's providing service. That's the biggest thing.
How about
We're all equal in it.
How about these companies that advertise on TV? We'll sell your house in 7 days. There's a lot of them on TV now that are advertising. Is that a bunch of crap or?
No, I mean it's again, it's the free market. I think finding what works best for that niche. So if you might have seen signs for, he's out of Rhode Island,
Buy a house.
Nathan Clark.
Yeah.
He's all over the place. What he's done, from my understanding of it, is he's taken out where his whole thing is having a pool of buyers and sellers that he can match up. So
That's how he does it.
you know what I mean? Like, he almost has a pool of this many buyers for and he pairs them up knowing what they want.
Who's these people that they advertise on the side of the road and you get stuff in the mail constantly? They'll buy your house today for cash.
Yeah, that you can pay you way under market value.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And sometimes
If depending on the situation, you might take it, right?
yeah, you might take it if there's somebody's sick or there's a divorce or an illness
I know
or something.
somebody that did that here
Yeah.
in town.
Yeah.
Took everything inside too.
Yeah.
Person just walked right out of the house.
Wow.
Took their belongings and gone.
If somebody left you a home, a family member or something, and it was left in a will, and let's say they were a hoarder, and you're looking at it going, geez, where do I start? There's 30-yard dumpsters of stuff on this property and this and that. You're not from the area, you don't have the outlets, you don't know who to call to do it. Then it's one of those things that if it works for somebody, great. It's not for everybody.
Tomorrow we have a decent, a cool show, actually, something that's a little bit different than we've done in a while. We're going to have a gentleman on virtually with us on the show. His name is Sam Rock, and he's from the from the Battle Buddy Response Team. And they are all about helping veterans coast to coast. So that is tomorrow. It's serving veterans and their families. That's the Battle Buddy Response Team. Sam Rock, who's the CEO of the organization, they're nationwide. They're going to be on virtually tomorrow with this, which should be a really good show, especially if you appreciate our veterans, and even more so if you know somebody that is a veteran that is struggling, or even within our society, it could be another avenue that you could chase. Like, for example, we have Reason to Ride, in Eastern Connecticut, where they raise probably around between $30,000 and $50,000 annually to help out struggling vets. So the Buddy Battle Response Team, that's tomorrow.
Oh, that's cool.
So what do you tell people right now that say, hey, I need a mortgage, I want to buy a house?
I mean, I think the big thing with the market right now is
better yet. Let me ask this question: I want to buy a house.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to do.
Yep.
Should I wait? Should I move? Should I move fast on something? Well, what should I do as my mortgage consultant?
Yep.
What do I do?
You have to look at everybody's situation. So, are they renting? What's their current rent? How much are they paying for rent? Do they, were they renting and now they're getting married and they have a kid on the way, so they need a bigger house? Because I hear people a lot and will say, well, I can rent for $1,500 a month. Yeah, you can rent something for $1,500 a month, but if you're renting something for $1,500 a month, you're not going to rent a 3-bed, 2-bath raised ranch or colonial. If you're married with a couple kids, for $1,500 a month, it's going to be $3,000 or $3,500 a month. And if that payment, and that's what you need for your family or where you need to live, if that payment is more or equal to or less than or comparable to what it would be to rent, then it might work for you. You know, provided all things you have the down
Right.
payment and qualifications and things like that. I'm not big on one of those that you see a lot of people that say, you know, buy the house now, you can always just refinance it. Well, what if you're planning on rates being 4, which I don't think they'll ever get that low again. But if you're planning on rates being 5% and they don't get there for 2 or 3 or 4 years and taxes go up or some of those things, you need to have those honest conversations with people so that they understand what they're getting into.
And then you got to go through the whole mortgage thing again.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely, you know, you have people, if there are people moving into this area for like electric boat and things, and they look at what rents are,
Yep.
then a lot of those people are you know, buying.
Yeah.
Yeah, why pay for rent, but you can pay to own something, but it's the money up front to be able to own it.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Like I don't
People can afford that payment, but they can't afford the money to buy something to get that
Or the
payment.
closing costs.
Exactly. Real estate fees. I'm just everything that's involved, you know.
like
The
there's always
lawyer
that now's a good time, now's a bad time.
Yeah.
It's such a blanket statement. You really have to take people on their individual merits and see what they need for the situation that they're in, for what their living situation is, their income, their family, all of those different things.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be good and bad times to buy.
But even try to rent, you got to put 2 months rent up front.
Oh,
Yeah.
first,
Sometimes
last,
3.
security.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes 3.
Yeah.
Yep.
First,
This is a
last, and
substantial
security.
amount of money.
Security.
Which is that legal?
Yeah.
It is legal. First, last, and security.
Yeah. I mean, other parts of the country right now are starting to see I don't want to say like a massive decline in house prices, but they're starting to see prices level out, flatten out, which is
That was what I was going to ask you next, actually,
but
as far
those
as
other
this
parts of
market.
the country also are able to bring new housing to market at a faster, more affordable pace. Like if you go down south, where I was in Myrtle Beach, you go to the Midwest, the Southwest, you know, they bring massive amounts of supply to market.
Mhm.
And then when there's an oversupply, what ends up happening is, you know, prices start to retreat for the supply and demand to meet. We don't have the infrastructure. We don't have the zoning. And most towns and the state regulations in, you know, Connecticut, Mass, Rhode Island, things like that, do not allow for and never will allow for any type of mass.
Oh, like the villages in Florida or something
Yeah.
like that. You're never going to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's built on slabs out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a faster build.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, you
Yeah.
don't have the environmental stuff.
They're not digging basements. They're pouring them on slabs.
nothing,
You know,
nothing.
Yeah.
there's a whole.
It's
My sister
it's
and
different.
brother-in-law bought one in Fort Myers one time in a community, gorgeous community, but you could open the window and spit on the neighbor's house. They were that close,
Oh yeah,
and they built them like that.
yeah. That's how it was down in Myrtle Beach.
And this community had 2,000 homes in it, and it was a gated community. But yeah, you're never going to get that around here.
There, last year we drove when we were just down there. We drove through by some places that last year at this time when we were down there, they were just starting to clear the land.
Yep.
Right. Drive by that same thing now.
They're all up.
Half built.
There's 300 or 400 houses in that same community that they were just clearing the land on. If that were Connecticut, which you'd never get that many houses anywhere,
No,
Right,
no.
right.
but if you had somebody that
Onico.
was
You could do it
starting-
in Onico.
Right, there you go. So
Yeah.
if you were starting to build or starting to clear land, you probably wouldn't see houses with the permitting process and the zoning and the surveying and all that stuff. Might not be for a year and a half till the builder would even start to break ground.
Well, you could never do it around here either, because communities that close together, you have to have city sewer and city water. You can't have wells and septic systems. It's not doable.
And we don't have that infrastructure.
No.
So are prices in Eastern Connecticut, are they leveling, going up, going down? What are they doing right now?
I mean, overall, in comparison, what, year over year? I believe they've increased. I don't know the exact amount of it. I don't see prices, especially in the 250 to 450, which we would around here now consider affordable. I don't see that, and I'm hearing from agents that I talked to that said they're still seeing in that price range still a ton of cash. Where that cash comes from, I've never been able to figure that out. But,
Laundering.
yeah.
That's
But-
because of supply and demand in this area. Right now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But
And
still,
then-
where's the cash coming from?
And
Where's
then
the cash,
you know
right?
the 650, 750 and
Yeah.
up. I think that is, I would say, like more of a bit of a, not a softening market, but it's leveling out. You know, there's not as much competition. You know, people that I've seen that, you know, if they're listing a house for 800-900,000, there used to be 10 offers. Now maybe there's 2 or 3. You know, because that mortgage at a 7.5% interest rate versus a 3 or 3, you're talking, you know, $1,000, $1,500 difference a
Right.
month in payment. That's a big.
Mm.
So
So it's unpredictable either way. You never know which way it's going to go.
you'll see
Up and
a
down,
lot
up and down.
After the Fed meets next week. There's a chance with the inflation numbers coming out this week that you might, on the off chance, see them drop the rate slightly. There's not a lot of hope that that's going to happen. But if the inflation numbers continue to level off, and if they were to start declining because the job market's starting to show some cracks, that it's not great.
Mhm.
Those are the things that would allow the Fed to come September start to drop rates September, November, December, and then into next year.
Which you had said. You had told me
Yeah, I thought that they
last
would
month. Yeah.
probably start towards the end of this year.
Does it make a difference if the White House is red or blue?
Personally, or
I don't.
Well,
I don't think so. I've seen it.
they
Under,
say it's not
Re-
political.
Reality. Yeah.
I think both parties, from a fiscal standpoint, have over the last 35, 40 years done the people of this country a huge disservice. So you can talk about the social differences between the parties,
Mhm.
but from like a truly numbers
Mhm.
and what they've both gotten us to this point where we are at right now. It's not, you know, you could be a Trump guy. And you know, true Trump people will say, well, he added a ton to the deficit, but he had to because of COVID. Okay, you know, I can take that argument, but nobody is willing to give up their political career. And the guys that try to do it, like a Thomas Massey, which is a libertarian out of Kentucky, Justin Amash, who's a libertarian out of Michigan. Anytime those guys try to even remotely talk about, hey, could we maybe look at, you know, defense spending or entitlements, you know, Social Security,
Mhm.
nobody, and it's, I think the founding fathers of this country knew that.
I don't know
that
why
we
they
need to start
consider
spending
Social
that money.
Security an entitlement. That's something that every working person pays into. That's not government money. That's the working people's money.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Michael, for coming on in.
Yeah.
We'll see you probably at the end of the summer. We'll get
Yeah.
another update. What's going on? All right. Lash, hey, thanks for showing up.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Enjoy your retirement vacation.
That'll be, but when you come back in, it'll be the same thing.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rich.
No problem.
Thanks, Wayne.
Hey, no problem. We'll see you tomorrow.
Well,
Right.
you know, I want to make sure you get you're okay from the Wasslicks to show up. So.
Oh, she's coming.
You're
Well,
going to be careful because when you start messing with the queen, you're going to get the horn.
yeah.
You're going to get
Michael,
the
thank
horn.
you very